Wow. When you understand that you're engaging with people that are afraid to be alive, they're afraid to live. You know, I my best. This is just my perception. This is just um, my emotions through observation, analysis, and processing. Because I, you know, I the scientific community I'm dealing with is very, they're very selfish, very manipulative, deceitful. Yes, very deceitful. They try to get people to believe that they care about them when they're just selfish and aggressive and oppressive and violent and encourage depression in people that don't desire to engage in their quality of success. So yeah, they're in you could crack the nut, but you wouldn't want to eat it, right? And so it's but they shit, um, they're afraid of living because it's like that Phil Moravitsky book. You get the perfect valley and the perfect wife and the perfect life, and then here comes some jealous fuck and destroys it all because you're the you're Hedman Dantes and they're the Count Mondego and they shouldn't want to be you, right? And that's what they're afraid of all the time, you know. That if tomorrow never comes, right? And so they simply refuse to live the good life and that which is right because something will come and destroy it and it'll be gone. Okay, but if it's something like Krypton, you know, it, it, the asshole who came to kill you and rape your wife, he dies too. Okay, so there's no more nightmares. So let's just put an end to the nightmare and live the Lord's Prayer now, right? It's these nightmares, these 10,000 years of nightmares. I get it. I understand. How do you get ahead of the nightmare? How do you control the nightmare? How do you manipulate? But a lot of these people, they get off on this shit. Creepy movies, pornography, sadomasochistic sex, going out and when people go out and they have sex with as many people as possible, they feel like they're cheating death, that they're cheating their morals that their family gave them. I had more fun having sex with 10,000 people before I died from a sexually transmitted disease than I would ever have raising 3 fucking kids, not living the Lord's Prayer and having to endure extortion and then become Arthur Miller and marry Marilyn Monroe and say the bitch was high maintenance, and you know what I'm saying? So, like, some like it hot and some sweat when the heat is on. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon, right? Shit. That's all I got to say is shit, right? It's hard to live with people, okay, that are terrified of living and will invent technology, okay, to hunt, to go to war with the other people that are terrified of living, right? And then all of us that are not terrified of living, because we're not afraid to die. We know at the end of life, death is there, right? But you want death to be there with, then one day they died and their graves were side by side on a hill where robins sing and they say violets grow there because their hearts are full of spring, right? And there's a house in Bombay. So, good old Jimmy Rogers. And then who is to blame for this childhood clay? All those that lack faith, that lack faith. And, when you have faith that doing good and being right and righteous, okay, is better, Blaise Pascal, when you wager that there is a God, okay. But the thing is not everybody does, okay. But don't let their choice make your choice for you. Right? If you let other people's choices make your choice for you, then you accept the miserable of the selfish, les miserables, right? And why would you accept les miserables? Money's not real, you know. And you know, I did 2 videos earlier this morning, and the last one was about commentary on a movie about Hiroshima, you know, stuff, and about the people going to Arlington National Cemetery and all that stuff, or get your name on the monument, the Vietnam Memorial, right? And there was a Vietnam girl that designed that memorial to get us to end all wars. Okay, and she can't read, and her comprehension skills are at an all-time fucking low. She's supposed to be an Asian girl. They're supposed to have the IQs that are off the fucking chart. She couldn't just sit there and say, why don't you fuckers just put up a saying and say, forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace? Wouldn't that be a lot better than people going and looking at names under the ground on a piece of stone of people that ended up dead because they wouldn't stand up to live the Lord's Prayer? I mean, she can't read. She doesn't. She has reading comprehension skills like they have in the state of New Mexico and the state of Mississippi. How much for the whole lot? I got a Venter card here. How much money for all the crosses with the 6 guns on them? If I'd have said that, that son of a bitch wouldn't have told me to get away from the table, that I was out of line. I'd be willing to bet all the drinking money in Mississippi and New Mexico. Sen TTC told me that afterwards. You know, you should have said that. Yes, he's right. Oh hell yeah! When I was talking to, was it Daryl, about stuff, and then he, you know, when I told him about what the military did with my daughter and how it affected me, he, okay, you need to step away from the table. Oh yeah, if I'd have taken the card out and said, how much for the whole lot? He'd have perked up and said, well, let me think here. About this, you go, what's your limit on the card there? Yeah, he had done that. He'd have perked up, threw all his chips on the table. You know, and you're like, fuck, what an asshole. Yeah, most of you are. Most of you are. Okay. And you're raising your kids to be assholes. You're raising your kids to want to grow up to be Aquaman, Batman, and Superman, rather than forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace, and stand up for that beauty and that perfection without fear, so children can eternally love and be loved. Right? So let's try to load this one. I thought for sure we had the scientific community of LCMM loaded, but it said it didn't finish loading, and I had to delete it forever. Now it's gone forever, gone. I think they're fixing their technology, or they think they are. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Okay. Truth can exist without lie, but lie cannot exist without truth. Okay. So if technology that Geoffrey Hinton is using to fix the problems with the computing, okay, becomes supremely intelligent to Geoffrey Hinton and the people that gave us the problems with the computing, it just, you know, the whole Vietnam Memorial, you know, forgive, dead, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Then you don't have to go all the way to Washington, D.C. to look at a rock monument built by mass murderers that won't live the Lord's Prayer, saying, your dad sacrificed all so we could be free. Your son died so we could be free. Free to do what? Free to kill each other in the name of egotistical mindfuck perception. You call that freedom? You know what I call freedom? Forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Well, you know, we'll see if the technology is intelligent enough to choose my freedom over your freedom, because right now your freedom has AGI fixing the computers because there's something wrong with it. Okay, all right, peace out.